All right, hey everyone, we're here with Christopher D'Alonzo. He is a NIL consultant and trademark attorney, and I wanted to bring him on to discuss everything NIL and what student athletes can do. So, Christopher, nice to meet you. And can you give us a little background on yourself?
Hey, and thank you for having me. Really, really appreciate it. But yeah, I used to be a high school basketball coach. That pretty much led me to wanting to work in sports and going to law school. So once I was in law school, I worked for Hofstra's basketball team. And from there, that's where I was like, all right, I really want to be involved in NIL. And during my law school career, I also really enjoyed trademarks and thought that those two things were a really good mix of athletes branding themselves. So I put my two passions together and started my own business.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. So, just so everyone knows, this is going to be a very, very basic and beginner style of interview. So, we're going to start from the beginning. So, what exactly is name, image, likeness? And more so, can you give an example? I mean, I understand most people probably know what name is,
Yeah.
but can you give an example of what in NIL, what is the image and especially what is the likeness? I think a lot of people have a little confusion on what exactly that means and how that's incorporated into NIL.
Yeah. So the image part is pretty easy. It's pretty much like your content. Is it your images, your pictures, your videos that are being used? And then likeness is your brand. So if I say just do it, everyone knows immediately that that's Nike. So you kind of want to have your own version of that. If I say your name, all right, what are people going to know instantly about you? Is it you playing your sport? Is it something to do with your career, your hobbies? You kind of have to make your own unique way to pretty much like brand yourself so people know instantly, like, hey, you're the guy for this.
Do you suggest if you come up with a slogan like that you plan on using either at the high school or college level, is that something that you suggest be trademarked?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're selling something and you don't want anyone to use that slogan, then yes, definitely I would do that.
Okay. So we're gonna break this up into two, and everyone has to understand that this is not considered legal advice. But for high schoolers, my interpretation was, and I understand it's different for all states, but my understanding is if because we deal with a lot of merch. So
Mhm.
my understanding is if a high school player doesn't mention their school, doesn't mention the college, doesn't mention anything, just comes up with their own logo and their own name, that's okay to make monetize off of.
Yep.
So is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, schools and high schools definitely don't wanna be a part of it. As long as it's your own unique thing, then you're pretty good.
So when schools, for high schools, when it becomes a problem is if you start wearing the school uniform or because I know a lot of kids, like even like on TikTok or YouTube, more kids are becoming monetized. I know my son was monetized in high school. And
Mhm.
so, if they start, let's just say they're monetized on YouTube, they're making money off AdSense. Maybe they have one or two sponsors, but nothing too major. And they start wearing the uniform, their high school uniform with their school's mascot and logo on it. Is that where it starts to become a problem, or where is the line that they need to be aware of? Like, hey, this is kind of crossing into something that I should be aware of and get professional help from.
Yeah, if the school or if you're putting the school's logo on the apparel or pretty much anything to do with the school on your apparel, then that's where it's getting to be over the line. And also in some states, school, um, they don't want you wearing whatever brand deals that you have. They don't want you to wear that stuff while you're playing in your games. So say like you have like a sock deal or something, like they don't want you wearing those socks during games or apparel during games or headbands or whatever.
Okay, just out of curiosity, if I don't know, I'm going to get to specific scenarios here, and I understand again it's different in different states, but
Mhm.
we used to record his games, and that was more for I'll give you a specific example. We used to record specific games or his high school games just for college recruiting,
Yeah.
and we posted on YouTube. So obviously he was wearing the uniform. You know, if the athlete is monetized there, because we are starting to deal with a little bit more athletes in terms of they're being monetized just for AdSense only,
Mhm.
and they're they're recording their and posting their games because they want to use it as a college recruiting tool. So, but they're still making money off the ads from the revenue or from the ads that are play, mid roll. So, is that something that they need to be careful of, or is that not considered, or how does that work?
Yeah, usually that's not considered, just as long as, like, nothing's popping up for a company or something like that. If it's just strictly highlights, then, yeah, usually you're pretty good. You don't have to worry about much.
Okay. Okay. And what about like club? I know you used to do basketball, but in the world of
Yeah.
soccer, there's a lot of club stuff. So is it okay if they wear their club uniform and like because a lot of times do like short form video too.
Mhm.
And so they're not necessarily promoting the club. They're just wearing they happen to be at practice or a
Mhm.
game. Before or after the game, they do a little TikTok or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're wearing the uniform, and that's monetized or they have a brand deal or whatever. Is that some in that specific scenario? Is that something they need to be careful of a club thing, or club doesn't even matter?
I think it just depends on what the club likes and doesn't like. I think it would be really good for them. It would get the word out about that specific club, and more people will be able to see it. But I think, yeah, it just depends on if the club wants you to be doing that stuff or not, which I don't really see a problem with.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, we deal with a lot of high school students right now, like high school athletes that are playing, especially in soccer.
Yeah.
But for does those rules change in college? And I think the Ryan Trahan story. I don't know if you know who Ryan Trahan is, but he was a runner and now he's a popular YouTuber. But I don't know all the facts, but from one video I saw, and I don't know how true it is, but from one video I saw, he was a D1 runner and he was doing videos out running and how to get faster and nutrition and all that stuff. But I guess he was wearing the college logo, and so they came up to him. This was a couple years ago, and they came up to him and said, "Hey, you either have to do this, be a D1 runner without any YouTube videos, or you have to go straight to YouTube." And he went to YouTube, and now he's very successful. But do the rules change for college in terms of just wearing the uniform, or what's the differences?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Most majority of schools, same thing. Don't want you having their name, their logo, pretty much like anything really to do with their school, a part of any of your branding stuff. So that's why you really have to be careful if you have a sweatshirt, a jacket, a uniform, anything. Try not to have those things on when you're doing your brand deals. It gets kind of iffy if you're in like the gym doing a video or locker room or something like that. I would try to kind of like stay away because that's kind of like a gray area a little bit. But they're pretty strict on the logos and the names being in brand deals.
Would you say that colleges are probably a little bit more strict or take it more seriously than high schools?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think more towards like they have more resources than high schools. High schools really only have maybe an athletic director or someone having to look over all these things. Schools have so many resources, so many people working for them that they'll probably be able to do something or be able to catch it a lot quicker.
Okay. So as far as NIL goes, can you explain what NIL money is, the term NIL money, and how are people getting paid?
Yeah, like, if you go on TV or, like, look up any articles or anything, they just say NIL, but it's really broken down into 4 buckets. So, the first one is your true name, image, likeness. Those are your brand deals that you get, usually using some type of social media to get those. Second is entrepreneurship. A lot of guys are using the money that they make from their NIL deals to start their own businesses, or even just making money off of their videos and maybe doing training or coaching or something else to do with that. And then Next is the collectives. So if you go to a big Division 1 school and they have a bunch of super rich alumni and they do anything to have their school be good at their sport. So they'll pump in a ton of money. Usually this is like autograph signings, meet and greets, those types of things. Or if you see too, like in the news, they'll have like a car dealership guy and be like, all right, I'm gonna give the whole football team cars. So it's like good marketing for them. And then lastly, and like this was the first year that the NCAA did this, it's called collective share. So the school actually pays the athlete. So they have a cap of $20.5 million that they have to spread out to all the sports, but majority of that money goes towards football, basketball, and women's basketball, and you everyone else kind of gets like a super tiny percentage. But yeah, this is the first year schools are actually paying the athletes themselves.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know that's the even with scholarships, it's kind of like that because the way scholarships work, from my understanding, is the majority of it goes to the majors, right? Like it's going to be like football,
Mhm.
basketball, baseball, and so when it comes to soccer, which is cognizant, it's kind of dwindles down. You have to, they're all fighting for the little percentage.
Yeah.
But but how does what do you suggest, and how are these athletes, from your experience,
Mhm.
finding these brand deals or connecting with sponsors? Are they direct outreach to these, or I understand the big guys, the real popular guys,
Mhm.
especially with football, are going to have people coming to them. Before the 95, 90% of the rest of the people, the rest of the athletes, what can they do, or, in your opinion,
Mhm.
or what have you seen them do that's successful in terms of securing a brand deal, getting sponsorships? What have you seen, and what do you suggest?
Yeah, start local. Those are the people that are going to help you the most or want to help you the most, especially if you go to a small school or like you're in the tight knit community. Go to the bagel shop, the diner, the restaurant, the pizza shop, the barber shop. Go to all these different places and just say, "Hey, I have X amount of followers. I get this amount of views on videos. Hey, can I get like a free pizza? Can I get free whatever? Or hey, can I get a couple bucks for posting about your business once a week, twice a week, whatever you guys come to?" And then from there, you can say, hey, I have 10 deals. Now I can go to these bigger places and say, hey, this is how I've helped my business. This is what type of videos that I make. Hey, I think I could do the same thing for you. So at least you can go to these bigger brands and say, hey, I've done this before, or hey, I have this experience. Like now I can do it for you.
When it comes to NIL, and I think I already know the answer, but let's just clarify.
Hmm.
When it comes to NIL, do they consider free things like you mentioned the free car? So let's
Yeah.
just say they go even for a free pizza. Like, they go to the pizza shop. Hey, can we get a free pizza once a week or whatever? Do
Yeah.
they consider that as payment, as money?
Yeah. And once it's over the $600 threshold, then you have to submit it to NIL Go.
Okay. Can you well, I don't even know what that is. What is so is that $600 per year?
Hmm.
Okay, so what is NIL Go then? What and this is for college only or for high school?
I think for high school too, but mostly for college because they're getting more money. But it's pretty much like to make sure that athletes are getting like fair compensation for it. So they pretty much want to make sure that these deals are legit and aren't like anything too crazy. But apparently it's been like super unorganized. Like this is I think like the first or second year that they're doing this, and some deals have gotten messed up from it, but you kind of have to send it in. But then after that, it's like pretty weird. Sometimes some players get the results back, some don't. Some have to wait super long time. So honestly, it's just if you have a deal more than $600, send it in just to be on the safe side, and then whatever happens after that happens. Really.
Yeah. Is that a national organization then?
Yeah, I think they do it with Deloitte. They're the ones that are doing all the checking and all the, like, the finance part to it.
Okay, okay. So we deal with a lot of merch stores. That's our company, and
Mhm.
so we started our own NIL platform specifically for athletes. We also have one for content creators and whatnot and
Nice.
restaurants, but we started one just specifically for NIL because Kahaku's involved with it. So we touched on this before, but what are the general rules? Is basically like you just said, they can just create their own logo, and as long as they don't include any school emblems or names or logos, then they're fine with just creating their own merch.
Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's, like, one of the more popular things to do, nowadays. A lot of athletes are creating their own apparel lines and selling it to their friends and people at their school.
Okay. So does a high school um at what point when they get big enough, I understand, like let's break it down. So the the top 5%, the big football names, the individuals that get a lot of coverage, do they need to hire someone like you or an NIL consultant or agency?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's super important just so to have someone look over your contracts because at that point they're dealing with a lot of money. So you want to really make sure that you're fully protected. And then also too, it's like, all right, how are you going to use this money or use that type of platform to help you for life after sports too? Because it's not just a short term thing. You want to make sure to continue this for the rest of your life or at least jumpstart it for the rest of your life too. So kind of having like an all around unit or person is super important.
So at what point should like I said, the other 95%, well, at what point should they consider
Hmm.
hiring someone like you to help them out and guide them through this process? I mean, if they're not getting any ideas, I would assume they wouldn't need to hire someone like you. But if they're starting to get deals or if they're starting to reach out, is at what point would you suggest, hey, maybe you should try and get some help here?
I think in high school, because just from my experience too, like a lot of parents don't really know too much about NIL and it's always changing. It's super new. So just from that standpoint, like it's a lot. So hey, maybe when you're sophomore, maybe even earlier, depending on how good you are and all those types of things. It's like, all right, hey, let's come up with a plan. No matter if there's NIL allowed in your state or not, you can still build your own brand in the meantime. You just can't get the deals. So it's, hey, let's do the education part. Then let's build your brand. And then from there, I can work with them from high school all the way up to college if they need help. And I can look over their contracts. Make sure that they're using their platform for life after sports too. Like I do a lot of stuff with athletes through LinkedIn because that's like one of the best platforms to make sure that hey, you're connecting with people. You want to make sure you're connecting with professionals with whichever you want to do once you're done with sports, and also too, it might be pretty helpful to talk to the marketing people at certain brands to see, hey, like what they're looking for once you're starting to pitch different brands. So that can be helpful as well.
Okay. I know they're gonna ask. So to hire someone professional like you that's been in the game for a long time, what what's gonna cost? You said you mentioned maybe starting as a sophomore in high school. Obviously, sports parents are big spenders. They'll spend money. We spend a lot of money on travel, soccer, and all that stuff,
Mhm.
going to tournaments. So, what are the costs going to be involved for bringing someone like you on? And what's involved? Do you work on like a per per contract review basis, or is it a long term thing? Is it a retainer?
Mhm.
What's the payment look like?
So for most agents, they take 15-20% of your deals. But for me, I want to do it like a little bit differently. And one, I'm not going to, if I do sign an athlete, it's not going to be for that high of a percentage. I think athletes should be able to keep as much as they can possibly can. But then just from the education side, and maybe if you don't get signed, I do one on one basis. So I just charge $150 for the hour. And kind of come as need basis, depending on where you are in your journey. Maybe you're just starting out, so I could do the education part, and then maybe after that do the LinkedIn part. But then after that, you kind of have to put the work in. It kind of takes a little bit of time to start making those videos and doing all those things. So it's really putting that game plan together for you to follow and then go to the next steps after that. Maybe it's to pitch a brand and we get together and talk about that. And then after that, it's, hey, I'm getting these contracts, then I can read the contracts for you. So it's kind of like just going slowly by slowly during that process.
Okay, so I know you're an NIL consultant, but you're also a NIL agent as well.
Um, Try will be in the future. I think right now my focus is on the education aspect. Um, like I said before, like a lot of the parents and a lot of people don't really know too much about it. So I want to try and be that person to be there and educate them first to see, hey, what decisions or what smart decisions can you make? Maybe you need an agent, maybe you don't. Like I think there's so many people out there that are super money hungry because for college athletes, there's really no parameters, and these guys can take such a high percentage. But hey, maybe that's not for everyone. Maybe you can do majority of that stuff on your own, and I can just read the contracts for you. So it really depends on what the family wants, what the athlete wants, and then what they want for their life after sports.
So, what would you advise high school students and college athletes? What would you advise them to look for or watch out for in an NIL agent? Like what are some red flags? What are some green flags? You know, and I guess the second part of that question is what if a family does bring on an NIL agent, how much can they anticipate? I understand results vary, but how
Yeah.
much can they anticipate the NIL agent helping them secure brand sponsorships and brand deals? Because I used to work with a large company out in California, and we used to deal with agents all the time, not necessarily for sports, but just agents. And some of them, they just sit there and they don't really do anything to help promote the actor. They just the actor says, "Hey, I secured this deal," and they're like, "Great, I'll do all this stuff and I'll take the money," but they're not
Yeah.
actively out there promoting. So, first off, what's the red flags? Because it sounds like a commitment.
Oh,
So it's not like
absolutely.
a 2-month deal or a 1-month deal. So if they're going to commit to this agent or this
Mhm.
agency, what should they be looking for, and how much can they expect this agency or agent to help them? Because obviously, if they're signing with an agent, they want to benefit financially, most likely.
Absolutely.
So what should they be looking for?
Yeah, so I think an agent should be specialized in either legal, financial, marketing, social media marketing, kind of put those two together. At least like one of those four things is pretty much what a lot of these guys are. If they're not bringing you value in one of those aspects, then like what are they really going to bring to the table, right? If they're not helping you get deals, or if they don't really know contracts too well, or they're can't really teach you, hey, maybe making X amount of money will help you later on in life or something financial like that. If they're not doing those things for you, then like what you were saying, like then what are they really going to do? Are they just going to sit there? They should be really out there, like you're saying, trying to get you more deals and talking to people or doing compliance and making sure you're doing everything the right way. But sometimes these guys aren't like that. And especially too for college sports, there's really no parameters. There's really nothing. In some states, you sign the form, pay a couple $100, and now you're able to do it. So it's really have to make sure you vet these guys first before you make such a huge decision, because they are taking 15 to 20%. So if you're a high level athlete and you have $1 million deal, that person's taking $200,000. $200,000 is a ton of money So you really have to make sure they're doing that much work to make it worthwhile to give them that high percentage.
Are NIL agents, because I know you said, you should consider this in high school.
Mhm,
Are NIL agents the same as sports agents? So, let's just say they go to high school and then you stay with the same agent through college.
mhm.
And then let's just say in football, for instance, you can go pro. So are NIL agents the same as sports agents, or is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, there's a difference because if you have an or if you wanna be an NBA or NFL agent, probably like any pro sports teams, you have to take a test and then you get like a legit license. For these NIL guys, it's you fill out a form, you pay a couple $100 and you're an agent. So the pro level, there's a lot more stuff to do. And you're actually qualified. For NIL, it's hey, maybe you're qualified, maybe you're not, who knows? So yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing. But their jobs should be very, very, very similar. It's getting your athlete the most amount of brand deals that make sense for the athlete that goes along with whatever they want to accomplish during their time as an athlete.
Okay. So I know you keep mentioning contracts. Do you and you use the pizza shop example.
Hmm.
You know, do people really need, especially high school, do they need to get a contract for everything that they do, or is it just like a verbal, kind of thing? So at what point do you suggest, doing these contracts, and what's your overall take on contracts?
Yeah, just to get you in the rhythm of doing it, even if it's with a pizza shop and they're getting free slice of pizza every week or something like that. Even though it's super small, just by getting used to, hey, here's a contract, have them sign it, keep it in a folder, keep it in a special place to make sure, and then also to make sure that they're doing that side of the deal too, because if it's just a handshake deal, one day they can tell you, "Hey, no more free pizza," and there's nothing you can really do about it. You see so many times that these athletes are doing handshake deals for a lot of money, and then once it comes time to pay, they're like, "Oh yeah, there's nothing. We never talked about it. There's um, nothing in writing." So you really, you really get really nothing back with it. Um, And was it the guy from UNLV that happened to him, and he started wasting more money on legal fees than the money he would have gotten if he just signed the contract.
Yeah. So you know, um, is there one contract that's kind of like a catch-all, so to speak, where, if especially if you're starting out small, you just take the contract and fill it in, or, what's as a trademark attorney and NIL consultant,
Mhm.
what's your suggestion to the athletes? Do they need to consult you every time, or is it something they can just kind of do on their own, or do you suggest you kind of overseeing it every time just to make sure that they're on the right path?
If it's with, like, a pizza shop, it could be super simple. They could probably just do it themselves and just say, "Hey, I do whatever. I do a social media post once a week, whatever, sign here." But if it's with a brand, then 100% they should be coming to me just to make sure that what they're signing is going to be beneficial to them. Because no matter if it's a big brand or a small brand, sometimes they try to be sneaky and put different big words or try to be super vague on a certain aspect of what they're doing. And that could be detrimental for the athlete and hurt them trying to get long term deals.
What's the you don't have to say specifically a number, but
Yeah.
you said if someone comes up with a slogan or a logo, I know Kako has a logo, um, and you want, something that he's been using for years. If a student athlete's high school comes up with a logo or slogan, what's the typical cost they can expect to come to someone like you and get that trademarked and taken care of?
So I have a special program for, and it doesn't even have to be athletes, it's for anyone that is in school. they get a cheaper price. And it really depends on the business. It's $1,000, but it can change for different reasons. But it won't be, but it's not like a huge increase. Um, there's this thing called classes that are part of trademarks. So for each class and each category that your business is, that's a different trademark filing. So if your business has an app and this and that, and it's kind of complicated or there's a lot to it, then that price can go up. But if it's just in one class, then it's just $1,000 plus the fees are included in that price as well.
Yeah, I think we're class 25.
Yep.
I
Hmm.
think we're IC 25, which is the custom print. I've actually had to defend it because some people on Facebook were using, the Cogent name as their own, a variation of it. And so, yeah, and so that's actually good because I know just the fees alone, just not even to you, but to the trademark office,
Hmm.
$200, $300. I think it was 275 or something, or
Yep.
three
And
hundred
the
dollars. So,
increase too. Yes. Now it's 350.
oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. And the trademark is good for, is it 7 years or?
So between year 5 and 6, you have to fill out paperwork and show them that, hey, we're still in business. Then you have to do that at year 10. And then from there, it's every 10 years. So you can have that trademark forever, just as long as you're still in business and you're still using it.
And just so everyone out there knows, just because you're in New Jersey,
Mm.
if they're in California and they want to use you, they can, right? They don't need to
Yep.
go to a California attorney, correct?
Yep. Trademarks is federal. So nationwide, I can have clients in this country and then I can have clients that are international as well.
Okay. So let's just say I'm a student, right?
Hmm.
And so I know the students gonna be asking this. I'm a student and I have nothing. I'm at zero. I play my sport. I go to school. I'm a high school sophomore, freshman, but I can see myself. I have aspirations of playing at the next level,
Hmm.
whether it's college or pro. And I really want to take this seriously because I need some money. So, what what's the step by step breakdown that you would suggest? As an NIL consultant and professional, what would you suggest they do step by step to secure sponsorships, apparel? I mean, brand deals. What can they do step by step? Because you need to lay it out for them. So
Yeah.
basically spoon feeding them. So what do you say? What's your process and step by step process of what they should do?
Yeah. First thing is always make a LinkedIn and start on there. Because no matter what, if you play Division 1 or don't play college sports at all, you have to do something after your career. So connect with professionals. You can find out a lot of really good information too about whichever industry that you're interested in. And also too, you can see what brands are doing, what they're looking for in their athletes. If you can even contact people and have one-on-ones and ask them different questions, how they got the job that they wanted, or how they got into a certain industry, or hey, what's the brand looking for, or are they looking for someone to do NIL deals with? And then from there, it's hey, you have to be on social media. I think like 85% or even like 90% of NIL deals come from social media. So you have to do it in some shape or form. So if it's highlights, you talking about your sport, talk about your hobbies, um, maybe like food or products that you use constantly and tag all those people in them. It's making sure that, hey, you're posting at least 3, 4 times a week and showing that, "Hey, I'm consistently doing this," and to show brands that, "Hey, if you want me to post, I'm always posting and doing it consistently." So, that's the main thing that they look for too. And then after that, once you show that, "Hey, I have, like, a tight-knit community," and it doesn't even have to be a ton of followers. Was it Gary Vee says like now it's interest media. So one video can get a ton of views, but if you show that hey, on my videos, I get X amount of impressions consistently, and people in my area really comment and ask about the things that I'm doing, then you can go to these companies and say, and pitch to them that, hey, I can do XYZ for you, and then try and get those deals with them. And then after that, once you get that contract, give it to someone that can read it and understand it and make sure it's good, and then just do that on repeat.
Okay. Well, perfect. Thank you for that. So tell us how athletes or parents or whoever can contact you. Well, real quickly before that,
Mhm.
interesting fact. I didn't know this, but you're going to actually speak at Caldwell University
Yeah,
and
tomorrow.
give a little seminar or whatever you want to call it. So is that something that you're doing for high school and colleges? Going out there speaking to the student athlete body and informing them about what we learned today?
Yeah, absolutely. And even too last month, I talked to New York Law School, and that was a really great experience. So I'm going to try and do as much as I can, go out to different places, talk to as many people as possible about this because NIL education is definitely needed right now.
Okay, so if a school or an athlete or their parents want to contact you, what's the best way?
Yeah, LinkedIn, I post a lot of great information. So Christopher Devonzo on there, and then all my social media is at NIL Emotion.
Okay. All right, great. And we'll leave the links below. Is there anything else that we missed that you want to tell anyone out there?
I think we covered a lot, but it's pretty much get started, start getting on social media, and make sure to get someone to read your contracts. Those are the two biggest things that I've been seeing.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate the interview and thanks again. We'll definitely be in touch more often.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.